evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's Monday night. That means it's time for another edition of SOMSpotlight presented by Sun Parlor Trailers. My name is Craig Smolders, joined as always by Rob Young. Rob, how are you today?
Really good, Craig. No complaints at all. And how's things with you?
Things are wonderful. Things are going. We over the weekend we did some work at the track, getting things ready to go. So we're getting excited here. We're getting leading into opening weekend here. But before we get to that, we're going to talk to Aiden Maynard here for a little bit and have a little chat with him.
That's great.
Awesome. So before we get to that though, fans, I do want to tell you about a few things. As I mentioned earlier, this is opening weekend, this coming weekend. So Friday, May 6th is going to be the opening night for our mini stocks. That's Friday, May 6th. Make sure you come out. We're also going to be doing a food drive for that. So make sure you come out, bring a canned good so we can support our local food banks. And then Saturday night, May 7th, that's going to be the other four classes, our four regular classes. That will be their opening night. Make sure you're getting to the track on Friday night. Make sure you're getting there at 6:30 for our opening ceremony. And then on Saturday, May 7th, make sure you're at the track by 6 o'clock so we can start our opening ceremonies by then. Also coming up, and again, that's going to be a food drive. So make sure Friday and Saturday you're bringing a canned good. Also, I want to mention the vendor market that we're going to be having on Friday nights. That's going to be starting on May 6th. Those are the dates that are available. We're still looking for vendors to come out again, starting Friday, May 6th. And we're now happy to announce, originally we announced that we weren't going to allow for food vendors. We are now allowing the food vendors to come out. So if you want to get involved in the vendor market, make sure you reach out to Craig Smolders or Angela Young-Bonner. Also, drivers, for you guys, we're still looking for drivers for the junior fan club. So if you want to get in the junior fan club, make sure you're getting involved in that. Reach out to Lauren Bonner. She's looking after all that. She'll get you set up with a date or whatever it is that you need from her. All right. I think that's all the news I have now, Rob. Let's get Aiden Maynard in here and let's have a little chat with him. Aiden, come on in, buddy. Good evening, Aiden. How are you today?
Oh, I'm doing all right, Craig. How are you?
I am wonderful. Thank you. What's going on? How's everything?
Busy a lot lately, getting the car ready between work as much as I can, but we're almost there.
Awesome. And how's your off season going?
Well, as I just described, very busy between trying to get the car ready in between time. Obviously, just graduating high school this year too, so I'm trying to get life on track while still keep racing involved. So
awesome! Congratulations on your graduations. That's great. You're going to be heading into college or doing something different?
I'm going to probably end up taking a year just working full time and kind of see what follows after that.
Okay, perfect. Rob, do you have any questions about that?
Sure. Now, this year, Aiden, are you the primary driver or you sharing it with your dad? I didn't get a chance to ask you about that.
We are actually, I'm going to be the full-time driver again. We're going back to how we were in 2019. Dad's the crew chief. I'll be the driver. But both, we're the only crew we got. So we're going to be busy on Friday nights, wherever we are, and Saturdays we have a race up north. So.
Cool.
Just gonna be me and him.
All right. Well, let's get into this here. I guess we have some pretty tough questions for you, Aiden. So are you gonna be able to handle them? You ready to go?
I think I can try.
All right. Here we go. Well, your first tough question here. How is it? Growing up, did you play any other sports, hockey, baseball, anything else, or are you always into racing, or how did that come about for you?
So, I guess I kind of tried a little bit of everything. When I was young, I think I was like 3 or 4, I got into skating lessons, wanted to play hockey because all my friends did it, and realized I can't skate worth crap, so I didn't do it. So I just didn't have as much dedication to it as my friends did, so I didn't want to do it anymore. Then it changed into I played basketball all through public school. Once I got out of the whole hockey phase, I got into the wanting to play NBA phase, and I tried working almost an hour a day, basketball and all that. Dad gave me a little dose of reality of what it is when it comes to like the low percentage of people that make it into that. So I think I got out of that too. And while I was doing all that, though, I was bowling for a long time. I just bowled my last night for 15 years strong in YBC program. On top of that, I was always coaching for 5 years. So a lot of time involved in that. And I think I just stayed in that the whole time outside of racing. I just stayed in bowling for a long time. Now that I'm aged out of bowling, or I can't actually bowl in YBC anymore, the passing of my grandpa, he did a lot of the work in that program. So I'm going to probably be taking a few things, try to carry on the program so I don't see it die. Yeah, other than that, I guess I just kind of tried a little bit of everything. Volleyball, I played half a season of soccer, realized I'm too, chunky to do that. So I can't do none of that. Yeah, and just stay with bowling the whole time.
Awesome. Rob, do you have any questions about that?
Well, it's interesting, as far as bowling is concerned, but probably a really famous race car driver from this area was a really good bowler too. His name's Don Malott, and I just found that interesting that Don was so involved in bowling and such a great race car driver. So that's I don't know how the two go hand in hand, but there's a lot of skill involved in bowling, and of course there's a lot of skill in racing too. So it'd be cool to see the sort of like the discipline that you need for throwing that ball down the alley not straight every time, but the same thing, same as going around a racetrack. You find a line that you go around and it works for you. So I guess there is some similarities. Anyway.
There is a little bit, yeah.
Yep.
The confidence is always one that goes hand in hand. You can be a good bowler if you got the confidence for it as well, and aspiration to learn. Right? And you know yourself, Rob, racing for years. You're starting out. You want to try to learn as much as you can.
Yep.
And bowling does give you a little bit of that too, because you're starting out in something that's completely different and trying to learn as best you can.
It's very interesting. Okay, Craig, I'll turn it over to you.
All right, Aiden. So as far as the racing goes, how did you actually get interested in racing coming out to the racetrack? Did you have some family members that raced, or how did that all come about?
Well, as I mentioned to you earlier, I do have a family member races, Jim Jones, distant cousin there, but I never really actually knew him before I even knew about racing, to be honest. I think the first time I ever came out here, I was 7 years old. And first time I ever seen a race, knew about racing. I came out here. We were sitting in the grandstands, and this is when it was, of course, the D-shaped South Buxton Raceway. And Dad hears over the PA Joel Desjardins. He's like, I know that guy. I was like, I know that name. So he's like, I'm going to go check it out. I'm going to go remember the car, and we're going to go check it out after. I'm like, all right, that's cool. First race, I get to go in the pits. Awesome. After hitting a few cars for autographs and all that, we get to Joel's, and then Dad's like, hey, you're the guy I used to play baseball with when we were younger. And so right from there, we seen Joel was all by himself. He crewed himself while driving. So if he had to pop a tire, if he popped a tire or something like that, he got out of the car, changed it himself, hopped back in and went. So he asked us, like, well, you guys interested in being on the crew and learning? And we just, right from there, I think we worked on Wednesday nights for 3 years. And then there's the picture there when Joel let Dad have the Mustang, when Joel still had the Mustang, took it to Delaware for the Pumpkin Smasher. And right from there, it just took right off. And that's all our life has been about. It's just go around in circles on a dirt track and pavement aside from there that one night. But yeah.
Awesome. Rob, do you have any questions about that?
Well, I spoke with Aiden about this a little earlier, and we're going to get into his Flagman career as well. But as a young man at the track, he was the fellow flagging in the grandstands, and I remember I wasn't always a driver, but I was a fan. I remember going and watching Aiden down there waving those flags, and it was just so cool to see that as a young guy is so interested in it. It just is something it'll stick with me forever watching that. So anyway, I'll turn it back over to you, Craig.
Yep. And Rob, I'll agree with you there. I mean, that's, some of these interviews we done, I can't remember all the stuff that happened before I was around, but Aiden, I can definitely remember such a small kid out there with a little set of flags. They weren't very big. And Aiden you were definitely on it, man. Sometimes you were making the calls before the flagman even was. So that was That was pretty entertaining to watch and watch you perfect your craft and everything. But I guess I want to know kind of about the flagging, Aiden. How is it that, you know, what it is about the flagging? Because I know you were, like I said, you were really interested as such a small kid and you started doing it. What was it about the flagging? Was it somebody? Was it something? How did the interest in flagging really come about? And I say interest, it's actually more like a passion and a love because you love doing it. So how did that but I'd like to know how that all came about, Aiden.
So I'll walk from the start there. So when me and Dad just started getting racing at Bucks, like I earlier explained, we then found out that, hey, there's other racetracks that exist. And Dad heard about this Oshweekend Speedway. And of course, it was a famous track even then. We're like, well, we've never heard of it, right? Because we weren't in the racing scene yet. And we decided, all right, one of these Friday nights, we're going to go up, spend the money, we're going to have fun. And I remember we're sitting kind of middle of the grandstands to the right, and I'm just watching this guy that I didn't know anything about. I'm just watching this guy. Like, I don't think I ever took my eyes off him for like 2 or 3 heat races. Like, he's just going all out, always whipping the flags like I do now. You know, like doing. And of course, Dale was younger then, so he actually didn't have so many aches and pains as he does now. Sorry, Dale. But we're just watching this guy just give it all it got. I've never seen anyone ever like that, and just caught my eye so well. Intermission rolls around, and we end up going to get. They actually sold those little junior sets like I had for many years. We bought one of those sets there, and I wanted to do the double checkers. Well, they only came with one checkered flag in the set, so we bought one of the bigger ones that you see I'm holding in that picture there. And at the end of the race, I went right up to Dale and introduced myself to him, and I asked him, "Hey, can you autograph this?" And he just being a little like eight-year-old kid, eight or nine. We go up, and he signs it for me from there. And right there, I think we started hitting just to watch like 3 or 4 times a year. And every single time I would go up north, whether it's Maryville, Humberstone, or Oshweekend, before I started really taking off the flagging, I would flag at every single race. I could never sit down and watch a race, admittedly. I got so used to standing all night through a race night that I could never sit down and watch a race anymore. Not even at home on TV sometimes. I struggle with it. And right from there, that just took it right off. Like, I knew immediately, I was like, I want to do that. I want to be in that stand. I want to do it at this track, and I want to do that. It just took right off from there. And as you can see, I've took many days. We're at home. I'm just turning a race on from Oshweekend's past races, and I'll just train, kind of like get my wrist to bend back that far so I can get the 2 to go right. Try to get the flags where they're perfectly straight up and down as they go around. Like every little detail I would get right into, making sure I had everything perfect. And then that's when I got the job at 5150 that we'll talk about later.
Awesome. That's a great story. That's amazing to hear. Rob, do you have any questions about that?
Well, Aiden, that's a gift that you have. I'm sure that there's very few people that can do that. The fact that you know the whole mechanics of it, and the entertaining part of it. I know there's several people have said to me about how entertaining you are. And so when they say that, and my wife is one of them, she would rather watch you flag than watch your races sometimes. And that's the truth. But when you talk about fans getting an experience when they come to the track and wanting fans to come back again, watching you is entertaining. It's as entertaining as the racing, and you and the announcer and all these little pieces that come together. That's what keeps the fans coming back and keeps them excited about racing. But you've taken it to such a level that, as far as flagmen are concerned, you've set the bar so high. I don't know how you at your young age, there's people who wish they could flag as good as you, who have been flagging a long time, I'm sure. But you're very entertaining, and man, I can see where what an asset you are to any speedway with your flagging abilities. But that is truly a gift that you have that most of us wish we had. So anyway, I'll turn that back over to Craig.
Yeah, and actually, while we're talking about it, Aiden, just out of curiosity, while we're looking at this picture, I guess you're kind of in those shoes now, where little kids are coming up to you while you're flagging and they want to take their picture or whatever. Talk about that a little bit. I mean, it's a complete role reversal. You're the guy now. How do you feel when kids are coming up to you, going, can I take my picture? Can I see a flag or whatever it is that the kids are saying to you?
I've actually only ever had maybe 2 over the years, actually. Like 2 kids. I have actually one story I can tell later. The most recent one was the one of the I think it's the 3rd or 4th week before the end of the season. There, that was all posted on my TikTok. Really good kid. Was very excited there. I was trying to get him up in the stand. Like I was trying to time my moment and all that there. And at first, I thought it was lost cause only because when I look back, I just seen him leaving with his parents and with his mom there. And I'm like, oh, I missed it. I was like really wanting to. And then Henry's seen him. He kind of could feel that my interest was toward that kid there. He's like, oh, so Henry's just like, oh, get him up there. So he's kind of like, not like pushing, but like, oh, go ahead. Mom's okay with it. She's like, oh yeah, go for it, all that. And I'm up there, yeah, come on, man. So the kid's like all excited, just like jumping out of his shoes. And I give him the green there, kind of like just talk to him a little bit there, like, hey, buddy, you ready? Like, I'm just going to pick you up because, the stand's really tall. Like, I'll pick you up and you can just give her. And you'll hear me just yell at you in your ear. They'll be like, yeah, buddy, just go. And it's funny because even just that simple line, yeah, buddy, I actually have a reasoning for that line. And it's very small, but it's very memorable. This is actually, again, connected to Dale. And it really was a key moment for me because it made me feel like I was Dale when I was always up there. Because whenever I go to Osh Weekend, Dale started knowing me by my face, and he would actually, every time I'm there, he would let me up in the stand to wave the green and stay up for a mini stock race, like the features. He would let me stay up there. And that yeah, buddy line, I remember Dale said that. He yelled it right when he was standing behind me when I had double greens in hand there, and I heard him just yell out, yeah, buddy, tell me to go. And just that simple line from there has always stuck with me every single time. So even when I'm waving double greens, almost every single feature, I can still kind of hear him in the back saying, yeah, buddy. It just fuels me right up and just lets me fly.
That's really cool, actually. Rob, do you have any questions about that?
Well, I was thinking about Aiden back when I was a young guy, his age, out of high school, and I started racing. There's 2 flagmen that I remember. Ron Colley was one of them from the dirt, and the other one was Joe Holden from the asphalt. And both those guys, first of all, Ron came down out of the tower with a black flag to black flag. I've told this story before about the time I spun Jimmy Dale Sr. out, but he controlled that track, and Joe did the same thing. I have a picture of Joe Holden and myself that I cherish. Joe's gone now, but both of those were what I would consider great flagmen. And you, Aiden, you on a scale from 1 to 10, I want to tell you this, and I don't want you to get not be able to put your helmet on when you go racing, but you're a 10. You are on a scale from 1 to 10. You're a 10 flagman right now at your age. Your leaps and bounds ahead of any real other flagman that I've ever seen. But I never forget those flagmen from back then. And I know there's a lot of young guys now that are out there racing that are going to remember you 20 years down the road. So it's really important. Everything you do, that young fellow you're speaking of, the impression that you leave, it'll last a lifetime. So keep up the good work. Anyway, I'll turn it back over to you, Craig.
All right, so we're going to change gears here just a little bit. I know you did a little bit of go-kart racing when you were a little bit younger, right?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, as I said to you guys earlier, I hate that fire suit. It just makes me look at that. But it was fun. Oh, yeah. It was even through our financial struggles with my family going on, because I think that was close to the time when my parents were splitting up. Yeah, it was we tried our best. We got out as much as we can, and it was a lot of fun. Dad did all the paint jobs, all the vinyls on the cars all the time. So all the paint jobs you see there, that's all him. Because he owned a paint shop actually for lacrosse helmets and stuff like that. So it was very easy to get access to.
Okay. Where did you race at?
Tillsonburg Outlaws. Just outside of Tillsonburg actually. It's a little indoor track where it was.
Okay. Okay. Rob, do you have any questions about that?
Well, you know, don't want to miss this opportunity to speak about Aiden and his dad Brad. How I've seen them together in the pits, and I wouldn't know that Brad was your dad. I would think Brad was your brother. And I know we spoke about this, and you said a lot of people say that, but I see you two guys together, and you're dynamic, the two of you. You're having a lot of fun out there. You're doing things you both enjoy together, whether it's go-karts or stock cars or whatever. But it's neat to see that. I love to see families doing that. But you and your dad are two peas in a pod. So looking forward to seeing you out there again this year.
A lot of times we get a little bit too much of the, peas in the pod they're going, but it never escalates more than just yelling. But yeah, we sometimes we're not too great together, but we somehow make it work in the end.
You do. All right, Craig.
All right. So were you successful in the go-kart racing? How long did you race for, and how did that all go for you?
I'll just start this by saying I felt like a heat race win was a feature. So I'll just put it that way. Oh no, we were not competitive. Not because of engine money that we put into it, because they're sealed engines and they're all restricted equally. Like there's nothing else we can do. Unfortunately, because of my size, I was heavier. There's actually a little girl above my dad's back in the top left there, Paige Smith. She's like the same age as me, if not 1 year younger, but she was like half my height, like a third of my weight. I was going against kids who were like maybe 90 pounds, right? And here I am, I'm like 170, 150 at the time. It's just the weight difference was different. There was no weight rule, so there never could be equal that way. So I was at the back a lot, but the one heat race I did win, it was purely by luck of the track conditions and just me being like this. So, but yeah, we weren't good. We weren't competitive, but I stayed out of most wrecks. And that was the biggest thing in karting, is trying to learn how to dodge wrecks, seeing a wreck before it happens kind of thing. Don't put yourself in uncomfortable situations. The only ever wrecks I've been in were self-caused. So,
Rob, do you have any questions about that?
Well, you know what, we all have to start somewhere, and I remember thinking to myself when I first started it, when you spoke about a heat win being like a feature win, you just want to finish, right? And sometimes that's the first goal. We all want to win, but sometimes we have to be able to finish to do that. But I think that a lot of those experiences that you have and you speak about in racing, when you're a flagman and you've been there before and you see what they're going through, I'm sure that must help you out a lot, knowing I know what those guys are thinking out there, and I have to be take that into consideration. So it's hand in hand, isn't it?
It's very difficult to try to keep that middle line, like to not kind of intertwine them too much, because you do have to kind of look at it in a logical sense of, well, you know what, you could have done this, but I got to look at it from what you did kind of thing, right? When as a driver, everything happens faster in the driver's seat, right? So out in the flag stand, it could have looked like a driver could have done this if you had enough time and all that. But when you actually are like in the driver's seat, it happens so fast. Like even a small spin out in front of you that was like a whole corner ahead of you could seem like it happened so fast. Exactly. And it's very difficult to try to be like, to some people I know that haven't raced, they get into these officiating positions. They don't see that. They're like, Oh, they had plenty of times like, well, it may seem like it, but it's not, and yeah, it's very hard to try to keep that logical line in there, but yeah.
Yep. But the fact that you've been there, and now you're, when you're flagging, you take a lot of that stuff into consideration. Anyway, Go ahead, Craig.
Yeah. So 20A, Aiden, how did you come up with the number 20A?
My favorite driver at the time, not too much into, not just saying him, but don't really watch late model racing too much no more. Roll of Outlaw late model driver Jimmy Owens was always my favorite driver growing up. My dad gave me so much Jimmy Owens merch that I always had. He said, it's like, oh, well, why don't you do 20? I'm like, okay. And I was like, it still seems kind of bland. Like, I don't want to just copy someone. I still want to have something a little bit of my own. So we just said, add an A to it. Okay. So it just worked out, and I stuck with it the whole time. So except for when my dad drove, I asked him, like, hey, like, I kind of made it my own thing. Can you change the number? He just made it 20N. So I kept it kind of good and neutral for whoever's driving it. So
excellent. All right, so we're gonna change gears again a little bit. You're gonna go back into the flag stand. I understand you did a little bit of flagging at 5150, the go-kart track there. Is that right?
Yeah, I did about a season and one race night. I did there's like shootout kind of race night there, the Thanksgiving race that they have, and that was kind of like a trial run because it was my first flagging track or flagging time there, and then I asked them in the off season, like, do you guys want me back full time? Would you be okay with that? And they're like, oh yeah, you're more than welcome to come back. So for that whole season, I didn't even have my own flag set. Like, I had to use theirs, and not trying to hurt them at all, but of course they weren't the greatest. The sticks were too long for me. The flags were too heavy. Like, it was just, they weren't great, but I wasn't sure if it was going to be a one-off kind of thing, so I didn't want to spend the $200 to get my own. So, but after that, of course, I'd seen that it was going to happen more and more, so I was like, I'll get my own set now.
Okay, Rob, do you have any questions about that?
Yeah, flagging is almost like a sport. You got to have you have your own custom bowling ball when you're bowling. A lot of hockey players are very comfortable with certain kind of stick, players with a bat. I never thought about it that way. To me, flags are flags, but I could see how you'd want to have something that was very comfortable in your hands, like a flags. That's pretty cool. There's something thanks for sharing that, Aiden.
Yeah, like mine right now. 1 second. Mine right now, they're what's called a ripstop material. So they're a little lighter and they can take a little bit more beating. My sticks, though, when I flagged to Route 1, I broke so many of those wooden dowel sticks so much. I just had enough of it. So I switched to aluminum hollow rods. They're nice and light. They can take a good beating. And for mounting, I just grabbed grip, like hockey tape, and I just taped a little bit into the flag and then all the way down on the stick there. And they're really light. They work well for me. The stick is nice and short. I literally only have like that much stick that sticks out of the flag now. So I got them pretty personalized to where they got to be. So
that is really interesting to know. That's and how important that must be. But next thing you know, you're going to have carbon fiber sticks.
When stick length is huge, because when I do the 2 to go signal, right, you're bending it back. Well, right here, I've had so many scratches because if it's too long, I come back like this, it's just going to rip my wrist a lot. And I've had that too many times, so I just keep shortening them, and now I finally got it to where it's got to be. So yeah, just that little bit of thing can mean so much. Like, I've had it hit off my wrist so much, I've almost dropped the flag. The most embarrassing thing to happen when you're a flagman.
Yeah, that's very interesting. All right, Craig.
All right, so you're at 5150. You're doing some flagging. You had done some racing. Doing the flagging at 5150, did you feel right at home? Was that where you wanted to be, or did you want to be out on the track racing, or how was that while you were doing that?
Well, during that time, I was at 5150. That was during the 2019 season, so I was still driving. So my driving fix was still there. It was good. I had my race, and I got to go fast, so I was okay with that. And when I was there, I was actually comfortable in the stand there. I was nervous the first couple of times, obviously, because it's your first time doing something where you're actually in the position, right? And I got comfortable pretty quickly there. It was definitely one of those tracks where you start at, and it's not saying that in a bad way. It's just karting tracks is not something where if you want to be a career in this, you got to try to still look higher. Like there's always better tracks to be at. And of course, until you get to the higher level. But then I was like, okay, this is a good starter. Let's try to just give my all the time, make myself look good, make everything look good, do everything as perfect as possible. And you should hopefully get your name out there good enough. And sure enough, it did. I then went to Route 1 and just went off from there. But it's all about self-image when it comes to flagging, of course. So.
Yep. Rob, do you have any questions about that?
Well, and I don't know. I don't want to run out of time and not bring this up, but I know that Aiden had some military training before with the Canadian Cadet Association at Trenton, and a lot of that goes hand in hand. The discipline that he speaks about with bowling, the technique that you use there, the flagging, is all of that goes hand in hand, and it's very. I think it's first of all, I congratulate you on wanting to get some military training, but the discipline that you receive from that through life. That discipline will carry you a long way, and I can see that it's happening with your flagging. And again, it's all coming out. A young guy for your age, with all that you've had so far, that's very amazing. So I just didn't want to forget to mention that, and thank you for taking part in our military, and knowing I know that that's an important thing in your life. So didn't want to forget to mention that. Anyway, carry on there, Craig, and Aiden wanted to comment on that.
Yeah,
no, said it pretty good.
Awesome. Yep, and thank you very much for doing that, Aiden. So that picture we're looking at now, that's you flagging at Route 1, correct?
Yep.
All right, and that was right after 5150. I know Route 1 opened after 5150 closed, so you just kind of went from 5150 over to Route 1 a little bit. I guess that was the time that that was 2019, right?
No, 2020.
Okay, so that's when we started coming out to watch you guys because of COVID, and there was nothing else that was going on. So me and the family came out. We got to hang out with Aiden and Maynard a whole lot that summer, and that was pretty entertaining. And the kids loved watching you do all the flagging out there. So you did a great job on that. And then I guess at some point here, you decide you want to try racing again, and you decide to do a little bit mini stocking. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. So 2018, the start of 2018, we decided we got a car from Joel, the Mustang there. We got from Joel for free because he got it for free from somebody there. It used to be Bugsy's Mustang. So we got that from Joel there. Built her up. It took about the whole year building it, and we decided, okay, we're going to shoot for 2019. Dad took it into his paint shop and put a nice, beautiful green paint on it. At first, I didn't like it. I did not like the looks of it. As you can see on the interior too, it's not the cleanest. It really wasn't. It was a thrown together car almost. But he put that beautiful green paint on it and made it look so much better. But yeah, it is right there. I mean, it was a good car for the first year it raced. It handled pretty good. Once I got onto it, it was really good. Got one feature race in it, about 5 heat race wins. Tried my luck up north though, and I'll tell you, the competition level between here and up north is insanely different. Up there, those guys there are just insane. That middle is from 2020 Merrittville. That night, unfortunately, we didn't have good luck. That was the night where that was the week where we spent $1,000 getting the car ready, another 500 getting it up there, and I think we turned 2 hot laps and the coil burnt out. So we didn't have a lot of luck there that night at all. So, it is what it is. Racing is 99% disappointment. It's the 1% that keeps it coming back, right? So we tried our luck again all the time.
Awesome. Absolutely. So I take it you're not a superstitious fella, are you? You or your dad?
No, not really.
You don't read too much into the don't paint your race car green, I take it? Or damn the rules? Is that kind of the attitude?
Yeah.
All right, Rob, do you have any questions about that? He's pretty speechless.
Well, back in the day, you didn't want a green race car, and you didn't want the number 13 on it. And that reminds me of a famous chassis builder by the name of Ed Howe, who he would go against the grain and all that. Had a green race car, and but he was a famous builder and an excellent driver, so he didn't care about all that superstition stuff. But anyway, that's those. I guess Aiden speaks about the tracks to the north and their mini stock car count and the competition and the level of competition. Those guys really, they go all out from everything, from motors and chassis and whatnot, and just to race against guys like those, Aiden, and bring that back. That's the experience that you get when you travel around. Learn things that they do. Some of the simple things like even your tire pressures and your staggers and stuff that you learn, that carries from one track to another. Sometimes that all, especially tire pressure, you learn a few things from some of these guys, and you bring it back, and man, that makes a big difference. When you just stay home all the time and you don't travel around, you don't get a chance to learn all that stuff. So my hat's off to you for doing that.
And that's just it. I mean, we've like around here, like I'm not knocking any of the guys down here at all, and I love their attitude. They're out here just to have fun and all that. But since we've always traveled up north, we know the competition. Though we know that if our car is there or not, we know that if it's like it's getting pretty close, like we got to find a way to be faster. The Mustangs, unfortunately, are one of the slower cars if they're not built right, and because we're heavier, we're not going to be able to compete. Like at Merrittville, the Volkswagens and Humberstone, they are the cars to beat. The type of cars, like the short wheelbase helps them a lot. Kind of have to always hope for like a dry slick track, to be honest, or a really wet track, and that's where wheel drives really come through. But if it's tacky, we don't stand a chance a lot of times.
Yeah, that's really cool. I like that division, the mini stock division, because you have a mixture of front wheel drive versus rear wheel drive and wheelbase. You speak of all that stuff, and man, you really got to know your stuff to run with some of those guys. But anyway, I'll turn it back over to Craig.
All right, so you get the mini stock already. You get all set up for 2020. And then 2020 comes around and all hell breaks loose and you're back out of the race car. How did you cope with that, Aiden? I mean, you got all revved up and then COVID hits and the track shut down and there's spotty races here, there, and everywhere. I don't know if you did some iRacing or that kind of stuff, but for sure coming in, as a rookie in the class, how did you kind of cope with all the COVID stuff and everything else going on?
So, like first I'll explain a picture there. The picture there is when the first test and tune I ever had in that car, 2019 there. First session I went out just kind of meandering along. And then the second session I was like, I'm just going to put a pedal down. Whatever happens, happens. And I thought in my head, I'm like, oh, this can't be too much different than karting. It is. It's really different. So learned that the hard way there. It wasn't a hard hit. It was just enough where the car looked completely clean, not a dent in it. And then all of a sudden I go and crank well, not really crank, but I hit it enough there, just a little fender bender of the tractor tires there. They were on the end of the wall of 1 and 2 there, the old D. So yeah, it wasn't ideal, that's for sure. But yeah, and through all the COVID stuff, as I said, the 2020, we ran one night, and that was that Maryville night. Dad being between jobs, me kind of trying to get a job. Like, it was very difficult to even get the funds up to race. 2021, that's when kind of things obviously picked up more. Speedway's opening and all that. We didn't make any trips up north though, because again of everything inflating. I mean, gas prices are insane. It'd be roughly $300 to fill a BRV, and that gets us there and halfway back, right? So it was, and to run the car, all that, it was just really expensive for us. So we were content and we're going to probably end up doing the same this year, but we plan to hit a few special events out of weekend this year though.
Awesome. Rob, do you have any questions about that?
Well, that is going to be a kind of a game changer for a lot of people. The price of fuel and just the elevated expense of a lot of things. Racing tires are going to be expensive, but traveling, yeah, it's and I don't think it'll always be that way. But most guys are going to have to stay home and race right here. But luckily we have a really nice track to race on. I think that it's going to be a first-class facility. We all have a lot of work to do to get it there, but we've got a really nice track, and we've got a really good group of people who, I think there's over 100 registered drivers in 5 different divisions. And we've got to spread it out over Friday and Saturday night, but I'm looking forward to coming out on Friday night just to watch you guys and be there and be part of that, learn more about your cars, and watch all of you. I mean, a lot of the rookies when they come along, it's pretty cool to see them from the beginning to the end of the season. And Aiden talks about how when he kind of first got started, and he's made that progression. I'm looking forward to seeing all that. So can't wait for opening night next weekend.
All right, so 2021, I guess it started off kind of funny because it was late. The season at SOMS was late getting started because of COVID still, and then you were out doing some flagging, and you were also doing some racing. Kind of walk us through how the end of 2020 and into 2021, how all that kind of shaped out for you, because you went through some stuff there.
So yeah, 2020 off season, going into the 2021 season there. Yeah, we at first, up until, what had it been? Probably like November of 2020, I think, somewhere around there. I was saying, you know what? I'm tired of waiting around. That's for flagging. I was like, I'm tired of waiting around. I'm just going to ask promoters. Just going to go straight up, go right to them, ask them straight up right there. At the time, Blake was our manager, and I go straight up to him. I was like, I called Henry, talked with him, texted him, and asked him, like, hey, can I be your flagman for next season? And he then called me. We had a good conversation all about that. I then had he really wanted me. He took me on because I had a few videos of my flagging from Route 1, and he took me on. Then Blake called me. We had a good talk as well. And from there, 2021, I was flagging all through. While I was pit crewing on the car through the week there, getting the car ready for Dad, because I didn't want the mini stock class to, die off. I wanted to keep a car in it. So I was working hard getting a car for Dad to race. But yeah, there's a few photos there. My favorite one that Alan took of me there is the top one there. I love that photo. There's the young guy there too, like amazing kid. He had a really big interest for it. And yeah, it was 2021 was a good season. Of course, it's we always have our off times. There's some bad nights, a lot of good nights, but we always end up coming back all the time. and hoping this year will be a lot more fun. As every year, you always hope it'll be more excitable than the last. Just keeping your hopes high, all the good stuff high. So yeah, just this year it'll be a lot different. That's for sure.
Definitely. Rob, do you have any questions about that?
Well, again, I look at that bottom right-hand picture and how impressionable Aiden can be on the younger fans and whatnot. And I mean, the fans, that's what puts them back in the grandstands. The kids are excited to go and watch, and they bug their parents all week long to come out and watch. But I see that Brad, Aiden's dad, finished 8th in the points in 2021, and so I guess if I'm going to ask you what your goal is as far as where would you like to finish in the points, or have you got any goals set for maybe another feature win, or yet you said you had 5 heat wins. That's going to be pretty tough to beat that kind of a record. So what goals have you got for this year, Aiden?
All I'm going to say for that is Bonner and Beaulieu, I'm coming for you. I planned this year. I've had enough time waiting around in mid-pack at the back. I'm coming this year. This year I want to be on top. I put way too much time into my car this off season. Between working and all that, I had a couple nights where I worked till 4 a.m. on the car. I'm a lot of hours into it. This year I'm gonna plan to be on top. I'm going all the way this year.
Good for you. I'm giggling to myself because we've all spent those nights till 4 a.m. getting a car ready, and I would not trade those for anything. Those are some of the greatest times. It's
fun. Oh yeah, you get your music going on. I got like a little thing there. I just plug my phone into, and it blares music the whole time. I was just having fun there, getting the car ready, relaxing there. And yeah, like I wouldn't trade those nights up. It's not like I regret them. I did the morning of, but
Yeah.
The nights themselves, oh no, I don't regret them at all. But yeah, this year I'm gonna shoot for up top this year, and me and Dad, we kind of have the same aspirations for that. We both put too much time into this to be okay with 3rd or 4th. Dad finishing 8th was unfortunately because of his wreck he had, where he bent the front clip completely right over to the left, or the right, whichever way it was there. But yeah, he bent the front clip pretty good. So we're going to, after that year, we kind of want to try to come back, and we're going to give it all we got.
Well, good for you. I like that attitude. Now, I spoke earlier, you and I spoke earlier about what you'd like to do as a career in your life. And you mentioned to me about you had co-opted while you were in high school to be a mechanic. And is that something you still would like to do, is to pursue a career in automotive?
Well, one thing it has opened my eyes to is how much different it is. Like my first thought all the time was, I'll just, make my hobby into a job, kind of thing, right? Because I enjoy my hobby. I figured I may as well get paid for it too. But I'm thinking that it's probably not going to be something I'll go into, most because of I've seen how much money just in tools you got to spend for it nowadays. I mean, cars nowadays, they're not something you can just bring a toolbox to, I guess, a little toolbox to tear apart. I mean, my Mustang, I can do that, like just a simple toolbox and wrenches and few sockets, you can do it. It's just not in these cars nowadays. They're so technologically advanced that you need a whole bunch of little things for this. And yeah, I'm thinking that's not going to be one of those things I'll do. But I still got to co-op every day, or as many days as I can anyways. I still try to learn as much as I can, because you never know, minds can change, right? You could be like, oh, you know what, actually, I really enjoy it all of a sudden now. Let's do it for real, that kind of thing, right? So,
well, they say that in your lifetime, you may change careers 10 times. I guess that's what the average is. But you have so much experience in different things that I don't think you'll ever have a problem And yet that career will show up, whatever that may be. I know that you'll do a great job at it. It's kind of cool to hear you talk about what you're going to do this year and you're going after them. That's a really good attitude, is to go out there and say, no, man, I'm going to go to the front this time. I'm not fooling around. Good for you, Aiden. It's good hearing that. All right, Craig, I'll turn it back over to you.
Go ahead, Aiden. Did you want to say something?
Yeah, even up north there too. I mean, I got some buddies up north there that I learned from about the different cars and all that up north at Schweik, Merivale, Humberstone. I talk to them pretty often, and like even them, like I'm not going to compete with them too much, but I'm not going to try to make it easy for them either. So we'll take it one step at a time. We'll get the home track championship, and then we'll see about up north. See if I ever can run weekly up there, and see how we can place up there.
Awesome. So before I forget, well, not before I forget, but it kind of got mixed in with the COVID and the flagging and everything else. You do have a feature win. Do you want to talk about when that was? Because I honestly don't remember the date, but when it was and how you felt when you got your first mini stock feature win.
It was, I believe, August 13th, 2019. And you can tell by the fact that I know the exact date is probably why it's always kind of cool in my brain there. It was funny. That night, actually, I went from the back to the front. The first lap that I had to lead, I spun out in turn 1 and 2. And I went from back straight to the front again. And in that race, from the grandstands, I mean, you see 8 cars, they're just going around, right? But in the race seat there, I noticed one of the only guys I know that could just pass me so easily was Brett Walker, and I can kind of tell, like, behind me, I would try to get to the high side and curve down under caution so I can see who's behind me, turn at as much as I can, and I seen that Brent wasn't there, and I was like, oh, this is perfect. I'm like, I know I can beat the other guys, and he was the only guy I was worried about, and I had the lead. I'm like, okay, it's a slick track. All I have to do is just keep the car going straight. That's all I have to do is just keep it going the right direction. And after a few cautions later, I came around there, and all that was going on on the last lap was, okay, now don't screw it up again. Because the 2 weeks before, I half spin coming out of 3 and 4 to the checkered, and Brent came right up in the inside of me. We dragged race to the finish, and he got me by a nose. I'm okay. Come through the corner. Don't screw up again. Don't screw up again. Just get it to the line. And I just took it really nice and easy through that corner. And yeah, I spent the whole lap coming around the off lap there, just completely just cheering in the helmet there, just completely excited. And of course, like when you end up getting your first win, it's all the hard work you spent on the car that just comes into your brain. It's like when people say your life flashed before your eyes kind of thing. Like, it was kind of like that. And it's like all the hard work me, Dad, and Joel put into the race car, getting it ready for 2019. My wreck was the week before my feature win. And Brian Spielman, he spent all night getting the roll cage damage repaired. Like, we had a lot of people in the hands in that, and I made it so much better by getting the win that night there, making it kind of worth all the work we all put in. So it was kind of like that. All the go-karting memories and the hardships there too was just all coming back. It was emotional in the car for sure.
Awesome. Rob, do you have any questions about that?
You know what? I know exactly how he's feeling. Everything he said about don't mess up. It's the last lap. Don't drive it in too hard. And all of and after you get that checker flag, you start thinking to yourself, all the people that you need to thank. Now is your opportunity. All those people all the hard work they've done, and you don't want to forget somebody. And it's a cool experience when you know you've won, and now the next thing you got to do is remember that in that interview to not forget anybody. That's pretty cool. I've been there only a few times myself, Aiden, and know exactly that feeling. So I'm that's something that you'll never forget. When you mentioned that was the date, and I thought you were going to tell me the exact hour and the minute that you won too.
I probably could.
That's something that we, you don't forget that one, do you? All right, Craig.
That's pretty cool. All right. So, favorite racing memory, favorite racetrack memory, favorite any kind of anything, because you've done a lot of different stuff at a lot of different tracks. So, what's your favorite racetrack memory? I guess would be the best way to word that.
Favorite racetrack memory, just one. I can't pick one because, of course, being on the flagging and racing side, right? I mean, I've got favorite memories for two different things. And I can't really put one over the other. Like they both just are equal to me. So unfortunately, I'll have to kind of go like one of the both worlds there. Of course, the one of them being that just hearing that "yeah, buddy" thing from Dale, being up there all the time with him every time I went. It's like that's just one completely amazing memory for flagging. Of course, better than anything I've ever had. And the first night I flagged here, actually Dale texted me that night. And he's like, dude, I watched a little bit of it. You're amazing. Good job. But he was just completely enthused and so happy that, I'm the person he kind of trained, and he was very happy with all that. For racing, it would have to actually be either the feature win or the fact I made the all-Canadian race, actually, the first time my first year. That's a very hard race to make. I know a lot of people that they've been racing 4 years. They've never made it. And I qualified in through the heat race to make it, which unfortunately then I came back to my pit area. My radiator sprung a leak. So I couldn't actually race, but making it was definitely up there. But feature win is like just that right there. So.
Awesome. Rob, do you have any questions or comments about that?
No, it's just so Dale's your mentor. And I'm sure that he is extremely proud of what you're doing, and just I'm sure him being a part of that is just as good a feeling as you spoke of your greatest memories. I'm sure that his greatest memory is seeing you up there flagging as well too, Aiden. So. Yep, you have a ton of experience from all aspects of racing. Most of us are glad just to be able to start at the working on our car and then get that feature win. But you've not only that, you've thrown the flagging part in there too. So there's everything. You have it all there. It's pretty cool. It's really nice talking with you.
Thank you.
Yep. And Aiden, plans for 2022 and beyond. What's going on next year? What do you plan on doing in the future? Racing, flagging, what is it that you would like to do?
Well, for flagging, without disclosing too much there, I'm trying my best to keep in contact with some tracks there. I'm really trying to get my name in some places there, and I'm hoping that in years to come it will. Racing wise, it's going to be definitely racing the Mustang until we can't find any more Mustang parts. I truly love the class. I have no intentions to try to move up, to be honest. I mean, it's not like I'm afraid of speed, but I'm pretty content with how fast we go. I just love the class. It's cheaper. Well, it's not cheap, but it's not the most expensive for sure. And it's just an all-around fun class to be in. Not too many serious guys are in it. And, if you end up hitting somebody in like the wrong way, not like wrecking them or anything like that, they're not going to come to you and be like, "Oh, you scratched my car," kind of thing, right? They'll just be like, "How's your car? Is it bad?" kind of thing, right? So it's a really fun class to be in. I don't really have any intentions getting out of it, to be honest.
Good. I mean, you mini stocks, you guys did a really good job last year. There's not a lot of you guys out there, but you guys did a really, really good job last year. And for the 2022 season, the Battery Boy mini stocks will be racing on Friday nights at Southern Ontario Motor Speedway. So it's very entertaining racing. Like I say, you guys put on a great show. It's a lot of fun. It's pretty cheap racing for the most part, if there is such a thing as cheap racing, if you want to say it that way. But it's pretty, it's a good entry level, so it's a lot of fun, and you guys do a really great job. Rob, do you have any more questions, comments, concerns for Aiden before we get on to his sponsors and things?
No, let's let him talk about his sponsors here.
Definitely. Do you got some people you would like to thank, Aiden?
So yeah, this year we got a whole new set of people actually this year. Bartlett Auto Repair, where I co-op at, they're coming on board this year. Formosa Pro Shop there, just inside Bolorama actually. When you go walk right in the doors there, first door to the right for Moza Pro Shop there, and of course Chatham Bolorama, where I'm actually where I work. Yeah, they decided to come on board this year. Lagoon Graphics there, just we use the it's my dad's business there, or one of the kind of the half owner of the business there. Then Martin Van Boxtel is the other one, the other owner there too. They decided to come on this year since he's doing some of the stickers and all that. So yeah, I got 4 good sponsors this year, and I'm hoping I can get a good picture in Victory Lane of them on the car. That's for sure.
Awesome. And any special people you would like to thank? Any crew members, people helping you out at the track, away from the track, that type of thing?
One thing for sure, definitely first up, always my dad. He's put a lot of money in the past couple weeks getting this car ready. New motor from Walker Machine Shop there that we just got block done up for, like all cleaned and all that. We're putting it together at the garage there, and just got the head back on Friday. So all new motor this year. Hopefully, going to give us a little bit more pop this year, and not the bad type of pop. But obviously, first thing is always him. Next is going to be obviously the sponsors too. As I said earlier, they've helped a lot coming on board this year, using them as well. I got a few people in the background that always help out as well, painting the car, coming up with the design and all that. Leah Alexander is one of them. She helped me out with painting and came up with this year's paint scheme. I'm hoping that in the next couple days, either 2-3 days, I have a TikTok I plan on releasing that is going to show off our car this year. Just hoping I can make it in time before we start racing though. So yeah, there's a couple people in the background there, but this year it's mostly been people work on the car. It's mostly just been me and my dad. So not a whole lot of people to thank this year, but yeah, hopefully more people I can thank at the end of the year though.
Awesome. And if people want to follow along with what's going on with Aiden Maynard throughout the season, how do they look you up on social media? What do you got going on out there?
So the Facebook page is also Joel's, but of course now he sold his race car, which that is a very, very upset thing for us that time he sold that. Joel himself got a little bit emotional on his live stream when it was sold, and me and Dad, we shared that emotion. We really did, because that's the car we learned on everything about racing. We had so many fun times coming out here. You know, once the pit gates open, we were here with the barbecue, cooking up food, having a whole bunch of fun. And yeah, it was a lot of memories we seen go. Now you can see in the picture there, you got my car on the thing there, on the graphic I made there. Desjardins Motorsports Maynard Racing there. Name will be changed eventually there. I guess there's a time limit how much you can change it. So once we're able to, we're probably going to end up changing the name. Maynard _Aiden 20 there. I just started that TikTok account probably about no more than that. I think I actually started using it for racing more, probably about 3 months ago or however much. So got a good, decent following on that. The video I made of the young kid up there with me flagging there has like over 1,600 views or something like that. And so we get pretty good views on there. My YouTube channel this year, this actually be the first time we talked about it publicly actually. This year, I plan on actually doing more of a Tanner Holmes kind of vlog thing there. This year, I plan on having the camera on the car as well as out of the car as well. I can vlog a little bit, maybe get some of the other guys there in the video as well. Show off we're having a good old time out here on a Friday night. And then while I'm in the car racing, we're going to get the GoPro going there. And yeah, it's going to be a whole bunch of fun. I'm hoping I can get a good viewing there too. I know sponsors definitely appreciate that. I mean, it's a little thing, but it can go a long way with getting more word out there, right? So trying to use social media to your advantage is huge when it comes to getting sponsors and promoting your race team. And so I'm hoping this year we're going to do it right.
Awesome. Well, Aiden, I don't have any more questions for you. I don't have anything else for you. Rob, do you have any other questions or comments or concerns or anything for Aiden?
Aiden's covered all the bases. We
Nice. Now all he wants to do is flag.
I'm on the big stage. I got my crew. Get you moving. It's what I do.
Well, there you go. That was your TikTok video, eh?
Yeah, that's one of them there. My other favorite one though is of course the one I made where I got the video from Rock Dog Pictures there, the Southern Ontario Motor Speedway YouTube channel of the first night racing in like a full year on shootout weekend. So that another one there, I think that's like a 1,500 views or something like that right now too. And I got 2 pretty good viral videos for me. But yeah, like I'm hoping this year though, I'm going to be keeping on TikTok a little bit. Right now it's kind of blacked out a little bit because I can't show off the car too much because we changed the paint scheme and everything so much this year that any little bit I give at this point, it's going to show it right off completely. And I just want it to be a big kind of shock surprise. So It's been a little quiet lately, but it's going to pick up hopefully soon.
Awesome. Rob, what were you saying before our producer completely cut you off?
You know what? I was interested in watching what was going on there, so I forgot all about it. But anyway, no, I think that our audience wants to know more about Aiden, and I think they do. Again, I've often said this. They see you out there, but they want to know, what does Aiden do other than flagging and being a driver, and they all know that now. And you're a young guy, and you're talking about social media and the whole electronic thing and how important that is to sponsors and whatnot. And those are all the right things. Us older guys, we didn't have all that way back when, and so we enjoy seeing all this new stuff coming along, and it's just been a joy to speak with you, Aiden. I've learned. I know you a lot more now than I did when we first started. So that's pretty cool. I like talking to you guys.
No, thank you so much.
Yep, absolutely. You're only 18 years old, and this has been a great discussion. Seems like you have a lifetime of experience, so that was pretty cool to get to know you very much, and we really appreciate you jumping on here with us. Did you have a lot of fun talking to us?
Oh yeah, I did for sure. Oh yeah.
Awesome. Well, we wish you the best of luck Friday nights at Southern Ontario Motor Speedway with the Battery Boy mini stocks. You'll see them every Friday night. Starting Friday, May 6th, you'll see Aiden Maynard driving in the 28 Battery Boy mini stock. So make sure you're checking that out on Friday nights. Thank you very much, Aiden, for joining us today, and best of luck in your 2022 season.
Yep.
Thank you, Craig, so much.
Aiden.
Thank you. Good luck to you guys this year.
Thank you, Aiden. Take care.
Take care.
All right, there, Robert. There we go. Now we know a lot more about Aiden Maynard, don't we?
Yeah. Like as I said, we with as many drivers as we have, and I know we're not going to get every one of them on here, but even if we get half of them, it's going to take us a whole year. But I've learned more about some of these guys, young and old, and everything in between that I didn't know, and I'm sure that again our audience has learned something that they didn't know, and as well. And it's just pretty neat to talk to them. That's all.
Yep, definitely. Drivers, if you want to get on here and tell your story, make sure you reach out to Craig Smolders or Angela Young-Bonner. We'll get you on here and you can talk about all your good things that have happened throughout your career and all your sponsors and all that other stuff. Also, don't forget to check out Southern Ontario Motor Speedway Fan Zone group on Facebook for all the information, events and schedules and drivers and contests and whatever else we have going on there. Also, don't forget to check out SOMSpotlight. That's our YouTube channel, SOMSpotlight. All of the interviews that we do each week are on there. Also, don't forget that on Friday, May 6th, that's going to be our opening night for Battery Boy mini stocks. And then on Saturday, May 7th, that's this Saturday. That's going to be opening night for the rest of the classes on Saturday, May 7th. And don't forget that we have a food drive going on. So make sure you're bringing out a canned good and support the local food banks. Next week, we are going to be joined by Kenny Bayless. He's one of the head dudes. I don't want to get his title wrong, so I'll say he's one of the head dudes at the Ontario Traditional Sprints, and they're going to be coming down to see us on Friday, May 13th. That's their first show with us, and that's going to be a wild night. Rob, what do you think of that?
Yeah, it's pretty. He's always fun to talk to. So I'm sure that he'll. And just learning a little bit more about Kenny will be a cool thing too. So. And some sprint car stuff. That'll be something neat to talk about.
Yep. Next week, Kenny is a big fan of sprint cars. He's a big sprint car lover. So next week it's going to be heavy on sprint cars. So if that's your thing, make sure you're joining us next Monday, and we'll have Kenny Bayless on here, and we'll talk about the Ontario traditional sprints and everything else. Rob, do you have anything else you wanna add here before we go off?
No, we're good.
All right. Well, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us as always each Monday night. That's been Spotlight presented by Sun Parlor Trailers. My name is Craig Smolders. That's Rob Young. Thank you very much. We will see you next week.
Good night, everybody.